Hello and welcome to Center Stage. I'm DeeAnn Konrad, Community Relations Supervisor for the Sioux Falls School District. And Center Stage gives us an opportunity to shine the lights brightly on the administrators of the Sioux Falls School District and get to know them a little bit more and on a deeper level. And we are grateful today to have the brand new principal at Terry Redlin Elementary. Not brand new, you've got a couple of months underneath your belt already. Yes. Ryan DeGraff, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. So how's it going over at Terry Redlin?
Well, you know what? Every day is a great day at Terry Redlin.
Good.
That's kind of what our motto is sometimes. It's going really well. You know, I was fortunate to be there 3 years before this as an admin intern. So just being able to know the families and the staff and the students has really helped with this transition.
Right, so you served as an admin intern under
Mitch Schaefer.
Yes. Wonderful, and Mitch is now over at Cleveland.
That is correct.
And therefore, you get the reins.
Right.
Right.
I still lean on him quite a bit. I email him quite a bit, so he's been a great mentor for me. My first year as an intern, I also was at Harvey Dunn under Dr. Boyson. So
sure.
It was a great experience to learn from both of them.
Wonderful. Well, let's talk a little bit about your path to where you are today. How long have you been in the Sioux Falls School District?
Great question. I believe this is my 14th year in the district.
Some would think you're barely above 14 years old.
Well, I don't know. I've aged quite a bit these first few months of this. No, I'm kidding. Thank you. You know, I just think you go all the way back. If you think about the journey into education, I grew up in a small town in Iowa, just north of Des Moines. Was always interested in sports and learning and reading. I remember Mrs. Christopherson, my third grade teacher, and still to this day, I just remember her as that grandmotherly figure and just how much she cared for us. I still remember some of the projects we did as an 8-year-old. And so when I think about that journey into high school, I was always interested in coaching and also education. Wasn't sure of the level. Went up to Augustana College, University now, to play football and baseball. But then it really honed in on, I really love working with younger students. So I got my elementary education degree. And then I started at Discovery Elementary in third grade. Mrs. Christopherson helped me to do that.
Right, wonderful. So would you say that, you know, as you said, education and just learning was always an interest of yours, but so many times, you know, kids get involved in the activities, and which activities provide such a well-rounded experience for a student.
Right.
Would you say that helped you in this pursuit that you have?
Absolutely, absolutely. When I think about my involvement in sports growing up and also in college, that leadership, understanding what it means to be a part of a team, leading a group, and then just understanding that sometimes things get pretty tough, and working on that resilience and working through those issues. So absolutely, I think it also teaches me time management. You know, as a student athlete all throughout my learning career, it helped me understand that I need to manage my time.
Wonderful. Well, I could use
It's still working on that.
I know, exactly, for sure. So talk a little bit about, I know you mentioned the word resilience, and that's something we talk about a lot in the Sioux Falls School District, helping our students not only academically with, you know, what they need to know at what grade level, but we're also developing these young students as a whole person and that resiliency. How do you guys do that at Terry Redlin?
That's a great question. When I think about, first of all, Terry Redlin is a wonderful school. It's in a pretty unique community, but it also has some challenges. So when we think about students coming in, they may not be where we want them to be academically, but we know that resilience, teaching that resilience and understanding that, yeah, we know life can be tough and school can be tough, learning can be tough, but understanding that we can work through this together. And so at Terry Redlin, we are a Boys Town well-managed school, so we teach explicitly some social skills, you know, about following directions and being able to accept no and accept consequences. And I believe that helps us teach the whole student, whether it's academics, social, emotional, because that's such an important thing.
Exactly. So how long has Terry Redlin been using the Boys Town model for?
It's a great question. I believe this is the 5th year.
Okay, so it's ingrained in the day-to-day practice. I think you know, our public may have heard us talk about that before, but is there an easy way to describe what that looks like? I know that when I have witnessed that in action, it's it's very, very purposeful. The conversations are very purposeful and that type of thing, and really help to instruct students on appropriate behavior and such.
Yes, yes, I can do that. The philosophy, I believe, with well-managed, Boys Town well-managed, is that one, we need to be consistent, and so part of that is consistent language, so that staff, all staff are trained as much as we can, and just so that we understand that when a student is struggling, we can use that consistent language to prompt them. Remember, when we follow directions, we look at the person, say okay, do it right away, that way we're more able to do something we want to do later. So just giving those reasons why. Sure. And if students struggle, we have procedures there in place. We also have what's called the Tier 2 program in our school, so students that continue to struggle with those academic or those social skills, we have some more supports in place so that we can explicitly teach to that and also teach in the moment when they're having a tough time.
Right.
Because we know that learning won't occur at its peak if they are not in that, not ready to learn. Yep.
Yeah, in the right frame of mind.
Right.
And sometimes there's frustrations that kids, you know, because of their age, they just don't have the skills yet to explain what they're feeling, or you know, use those emotions in the proper way. And so being able to lean on that instruction and lean on the well-managed model is hopefully that's going well.
It is. Obviously, we work towards refining it here and there. What our philosophy is, and many throughout the district is, you know, when we have students that have reading deficits, we teach to that. We have supports in place, but if they have behavioral deficits or emotional deficits, we need to also teach to that too.
Right. So this is going on at Terry Redlin, but it's also going on at several schools across the district. And so certainly, while I'm sure Terry Redlin is doing it the best in the district,
I'm not sure about that.
We have many schools that are working toward this and helping our students become better socially as well as academically, because we know when they're in that right place, they can continue to learn. So certainly a good program over at Terry Redlin. You guys also focus a lot. I always feel like the school is a community itself. Like the adults there are filling in and supporting as parents, kind of like Mrs. Christensen.
Yes,
did,
Christopherson.
Christopherson
Yes.
did for you. That there's quite a bit of connectivity and just watching out for one another. Absolutely. At Terry Redlin.
Yep. When we think about learning, the number one thing is connecting and relationships, and very fortunate our staff know the challenges that are in place and choose to stay there and just love up on our kids.
Yeah.
May not be happy with some things that go on, but they just love them and work towards just improving their lives in general. So when you think about connecting, reaching out and understanding, it's going to take that whole community approach to help out some of the challenges that we face within a school or within a district.
Right, exactly. Well, Terry Redlin's been a leader also, I think, in trying to bolster attendance and really focus on help the kids understand why it's important to be in school every day, on time, and learning. So tell us about some of the projects and programs and such that you've been using to encourage that attendance.
Sure. As an intern for Mitch Schaefer, you know, he encouraged us to just reach out and think out of the box to see what we can do to move the needle when it comes to attendance. When we think about some numbers, Terry Redlin, we're at 24% mobility rate. So that just means that students, about a quarter of our students come and go at least one time throughout the year, which is really difficult for them to connect. And so our job is, one, to connect with those kids early and often, because we know that if they think people care about them, they'll keep showing up for school.
Exactly.
But also, we also want to try to change that the family thinking about understanding why it's so important to get to school. One, it's because if they're not there, they can't learn.
Right.
But two, looking forward to the future as future workers, understanding that this is a community issue. So we've started some incentives. We know that that's not a long-term solution, but understanding that if we can create some excitement with our students, especially our younger students, to get into that habit of coming. So we've started last year called the Strive for 5 program. So every student, if they can get to school on time all day, every day for the whole week, they're eligible for any number of prizes. So whether it's just small little donated gifts from community restaurants and whatnot,
Sure.
or a $50 gift card every week. That can really
Wow.
draw some excitement. That's always fun to announce that winner every Friday afternoon at the end of the day. Just because sometimes for some of our families, that's a big chunk of change to help with any struggles
Absolutely.
they have.
Absolutely.
And that was a grant from the Sioux Falls Community Foundation. So that's been
Wonderful.
helpful. We also stress perfect attendance. We know that's very difficult, especially
is.
during the flu season.
Oh, yes.
But we also gave away 19 bicycles last year at the end of the year to honor those students that came every
Right.
single day and
Wow.
never left early.
Well, we know as busy people and as parents, it is difficult.
Right.
Somebody wakes up with a fever, and certainly we don't want kids in school if they're
Right.
not healthy. But there are those occasional, oh, I have a headache. You can either choose to go or choose not to go. Every day is a choice.
Absolutely.
And if you could power through it, just think of the resiliency that you're building.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And if anything, I think it just has raised the conversation, just that parents are talking about attendance and asking questions and understanding, oh, I didn't realize my child has missed this many days so far. So it's helped us as a school, and I believe as a district with
Absolutely.
your leadership, is just understanding, raising the awareness of why attendance is so important.
Right. Sometimes I know that schools will have family nights and things like that where you invite parents in. What kinds of events do you do to encourage those parents to extend the learning beyond what happens in a classroom?
Right. That's a great question. We have a couple planned coming up. We have the Read Across America Week. So a lot of times we bring families in, we provide a book to every student, and then we have an activity where they eat with us within our Breakfast in a Classroom program.
Okay.
They get to sample that food, and then they get to read with their child.
Okay.
And so that's a good thing for us to just bring families in first to see our routines and also understand that importance of reading every day to your child.
Absolutely.
We also do family movie nights. We started that this year. We've had 2, and that's been very successful. It's just nice. We know how crazy and how busy everything is. I have 3 young daughters. I've got a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and they were able to come to our last one. It was Moana, so we've seen it about 45 times. But it was
46
yeah,
now.
46 now, yes. So it's just nice to just be able to see families together, being able to do something free.
Wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a good community builder. I know when we talk about community and partnerships, Terry Redlin's really done a great job of connecting with organizations in the community and businesses in the community to help support what goes on in school.
Right.
I know earlier the week of this taping, you had some students over at the fire station
Yeah.
having lunch, I think,
Yes,
with the
yes.
firefighters. I wouldn't ask you to name all of your community partners because I
Right.
know you have
We
many,
have quite
and
a
that would
few.
be putting you on the spot. But give us some examples
Right.
of the types of partnerships that you rely on to
Sure.
support what's happening inside the walls at Terry Redlin.
Right. Well, first of all, when I think about the district has given us that strategic plan of, this is really what we want to dedicate a lot of our time to, whether it's improving academics, which is number one, whether it's improving attendance, but also it's connecting with community partners. So with the Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, we have a unique opportunity. We're within walking distance of Station 5. They approached us this year and said, we would love to pilot a program where we adopt a school. And so that's just getting off the ground. You can see one of the
Okay.
things that happened there was that some of our second grade students who had perfect attendance were able to walk over, have lunch there, get to talk to the crew, get to sit in the truck.
Wow.
Just connecting, because we know for them as well, if they respond to emergencies, if they are able to connect with the families they serve, that's a win. That's
Right.
a win-win too.
Absolutely. Plus, you're showing a little career exploration as well.
Right.
I think there's always, as young people, we're enamored by the work done by our law enforcement and
Right.
first responders and such. And
Yep.
you never know, a visit like that might spark
Absolutely.
that interest.
And especially one of the strengths of Terry Redlin is that the diversity. And so if you think about, if we can expose our students to all these different options, the sky's the limit for you. If you want to
Right.
become, with a law enforcement officer or a firefighter, this is for
Right.
you. You can do this.
Right.
So absolutely.
What other partners do you
Right.
rely on?
you know, we have been able to connect really well with some of our faith partners within our community. Celebrate Church has done just an incredible job of trying to build up our community, whether it was a Thunder Road event to begin the year.
Sure.
They basically allowed all of our families to go to Thunder Road for free.
Wow.
And it was such a great way to kick off a school year. There were so many smiles on a lot of our students' faces, and just being able to see, once again, that family interaction, just seeing activities for families to do. Also, King of Glory Church has been a wonderful partner with us. Yeah, we just have quite a few. Just understanding that with the issues or the concerns that we have, it takes that community to help and help boost up, whether it's to staff, you know, encouragement to staff, whether it's helping out families. We have something with King of Glory called the Eagle's Nest, where the Terry Redlin Eagles. So if we identify families in need of something with that Eagle's Nest funds, we can just help up a family that just needs a little help in a time of need.
Exactly. Well, again, those partnerships that we have are so critical to the success of students, and sometimes it's items, but sometimes it's time also as well. And so we know we have the mentor program, which is coordinated for us by the Lutheran Social Services School-Based Mentor Program. That is so awesome. So, you know, if you're not part of something that's already connected to a school, individuals can support that as well.
Absolutely.
And I assume you have mentors over at Terry Redlin.
Yes, we do. You know, Mr. Mitch Schaefer beforehand, you know, his goal was always, I would love to get a mentor for every one of our students, which is a pretty lofty goal, and I understand why we would want that. You know, when students look forward to a visit, a one-on-one visit and attention from an adult, that's a win-win. That helps attendance too, because they rarely miss those days that they have their mentor. But absolutely, you know, just being able to dedicate 45 minutes to an hour once a week to visit with students, whether it's at Terry Redlin or any school within the district, what a great thing. My wife has mentored a student. When I was a third grade teacher at Discovery, she started with her student, and she's still mentoring her. I believe she's a senior at Roosevelt now.
Oh my goodness.
Just that journey and understanding the growth and that connection that they have. It's been a pretty unique thing to see. Right.
And I would say, as a mentor myself, I believe this is my 17th or 18th year as a mentor as well. I've had, I believe, 4 students in that amount of time. And it's yes, a weekly commitment, but such an easy thing to do. You don't need a special skill. You just need to be able to carve out lunchtime with a student. Many times we play games, or we're working on crafts and doing things like that, just depending upon what the interest of the student is. I know as I was leaving, Robert Frost is where I mentor, and as I was leaving the other day, I saw a gentleman who is probably in his 70s, and he and his mentee were in the gym shooting hoops, and
there you go.
I'm not sure who was schooling whom, but it was so fun to see people, you know, just stepping outside the box and really supporting.
Right, just being present for that student, just for them to feel special.
Right. Well, we talked a lot about your school family, but you mentioned your very busy family of your own, and you have 3 super cute daughters. I know, because I get to connect with your wife on Facebook, so I get to follow your journeys and such. But tell us a little bit about your kiddos.
Yeah, Adeline is 6. She's a first grader, so it's fun to see, just kind of pick her brain a little bit about how her school works and whatnot. She actually, Carrie had gotten a call yesterday from Adeline's principal, and we thought, oh my goodness, first call from principal. It was a good news of the day call, so that was good. It gave me a good idea for something future to use at Terry Redlin. And then Juliet will turn 5 very soon, so she's gearing up for kindergarten. I helped with the Here Comes Kindergarten event last week, and so I was really starting to think about all those checklists that I need to make sure that Juliet's ready to go. And then Lillian is 2. She's our Spitfire. Never a dull moment at the DeGraff household. And then Carrie, she's just accepted a new position at Washington Pavilion, just to give us a little bit more flexibility and also some more responsibility for her too. So she's excited to begin that journey next week.
Right. So Carrie's been a visible part of our community in a couple of different ways. She was part of United Way, and then Feeding South Dakota, and now continuing on for for the pavilion.
Yes.
So how do you juggle that all? Because I'm guessing with 3 young ones, a schedule where you're taking, I don't know how many students, what do you have over at Terry Redlin?
We have early childhood through 5th is about 535.
So you've got 538 kids to be responsible for then. How do you juggle that as a family, and what do you guys like to do that really keeps you connected with your own kids?
Right. One, it's an amazing spouse. That's the key. She does a fantastic job of juggling everything, but understanding that when we're home, to be present and just to understand that the girls are this age for such a short amount of time, so just trying to enjoy that moment, even though it's craziness and a lot of Disney princesses and all those different things, trying to enjoy that time. So the weekends and just spending that time, being present.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, their journey through education, any hopes and dreams for them in terms of what you'd like to see or how you'd like to see them develop?
Yeah, it's funny how they change. They used to be, when I grow up, I want to be a baby tiger. That was the first thing they had said. And now they're shifting towards other things. And then Juliet, she said, when I grow up, I want to be a principal. I'm not sure if she even knows what that means.
Sure.
But I said, you just wait, Juliet, until you interact with the principal first. But it's cute to see that they understand that education and reading and learning is so important within our family.
Absolutely, and I know that just through Carrie's work as well, that you've exposed them to all areas of our community where there is a need, and how as volunteers we can step up and fill that need. Is that something you guys are pretty passionate about?
Yes, absolutely it is, and especially with Carrie's work with Feeding South Dakota, being able to go and help fill backpacks or sort food for them, understanding that, we are fortunate within our household and others aren't so fortunate. So what can we do to help others in need? So it has been good. Still have some work to do there.
Yeah, well, they're young, and it's full circle though to help them become community leaders as well, whether that's a principal, a baby tiger. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, whatever she wants to be.
That's right. No, that's really awesome. So, back to your Terry Redlin family. What do you do to help support your teachers in the building? They have professional development opportunities and that type of thing as well. But how do you rally around those teachers who have? I'm always amazed. 25 little bodies in a classroom, and their learning levels are so, at varied stages. And so how do you support those teachers and those who are in those classrooms daily?
Well, number one, it's the culture of understanding that we need to celebrate the successes, whether big successes or small, and understanding that each day is a new day, so that understanding that it might have been rough the day before, but what can we do to move forward, whether it's with their learning or behavioral needs, so emotional needs, and understanding that we have to have some humor sometimes too. So whether it's our last staff meeting, we did the first annual Terry Redlin Olympiad. So we just did a couple, Winter Olympics activities like curling in the gym.
Oh, really?
And just different things like that, just
Very
so
good.
they can just have a little
decompress.
bit of have a little bit of fun with the staff before then we dive into some serious topics and professional development. So understanding that there's a time and a place for everything to just stop and breathe for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's important, where they know that they're yes, they're on a lot of the time, but it's okay to connect on a personal level, on a more a level of just, as you said, relaxing and that type of thing. So
as far as professional development, we've started a new English language arts curriculum this year. So a lot of our professional development has been focused on the collaborative classroom, which is the program we chose. And we've also been focusing on a book called Fostering Resilient Learners. So it goes back to that. What do we do with students that have trauma and are experiencing trauma? How can we reach them so that they're in a best place to learn?
So is that like a book talk type thing that you guys do?
A little bit. We dabble within the chapters and then give them a chance to talk about it and just make connections to what are you seeing within the classroom and how can this help us moving forward with a specific student or all students.
Right, wonderful. Well, we're coming up on the end of our time, and I know 30 minutes seemed like an eternity when we started, right? But anything else we should know about Ryan DeGraff?
Oh goodness. Well, one, I feel very fortunate to be at Terry Redlin Elementary School. It's a wonderful, unique place that has so many opportunities. They also have some challenges, but I would have to say that our families, our students, and our staff, I would never want anything different because they're fantastic.
Wonderful. Well, it's great they have a great leader over at Terry Redlin. We're so grateful you would join us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Although I'm not sure you knew what you were getting into when you came.
I did not at all.
When you came to join us. But we do thank you for your work and your commitment to the students at Terry Redlin and in the Sioux Falls School District. So thank you for sharing a bit of your time and your ideas of what works over at Terry Redlin with us and with our community.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Thanks for joining us today on Center Stage.